But here's what nobody's talking about. This isn't just about disappointed fans or cheaper tickets. This is about the WNBA accidentally exposing the uncomfortable truth. Their entire business model depends on one 23-year-old player, who's currently getting destroyed by organizational dysfunction. If you think the league just realized they have a massive problem, drop a comment saying, "Clark Crisis," and let me know if you believe the WNBA can survive without its biggest star. Now, let's break down exactly how this financial meltdown happened, and why it proves everything we've been saying about the Clark effect.
It was lit, but Jesus, 50% price markdown during an all-star game?
For the people who don't believe in the CC effect, my precious CC, y'all ticket sales went from $262 to $121 to $64 to get in at the door. That is horrible.
And they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league, especially to the all.
The numbers don't lie. When Sports Illustrated confirmed that the average resale price had reached $262 before Clark's withdrawal, the highest in WNBA All-Star Game history, you realize just how much money was about to change hands. We're talking about tickets selling for nearly 3 times the normal All-Star price, with downtown Indianapolis hotels charging 2 to 3 times their usual weekend rates. Everyone knew this was going to be the biggest event in women's basketball history. Visit Indy projected nearly 70,000 fans would descend on the city for All-Star Weekend, generating at least $10 million in economic impact. Factor in hotels, restaurants, transportation, merchandise, parking, everything that comes with a major sporting event, and that $3 million immediate loss becomes very real, very fast. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what this disaster revealed about the league's fundamental structural problems.
Just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark, the entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was.
We had one industry source tell us that it's hard to believe that Caitlin is not worth close to $1 billion to the league.
With a B?
With a B, that is $1 billion.
Of course, we think jersey sales, we think ticket sales, but Ben, what else? What feeds into that billion with a B?
You know, significant increases in media rights and franchise valuations over the past couple of years. Ticket sales, big one. The opposing arenas, big one. We had someone tell us that, like, Caitlin Clark right now is making opposing owners 7 figures.
The secondary market bloodbath started immediately after Clark's July 17th announcement. TickPick reported the most dramatic price collapse in women's sports history. StubHub prices dropped from an average of $126 to $65 within hours. SeatGeek saw similar crashes across all tiers. Vivid Seats, previously listing premium tickets at $400, suddenly had inventory sitting at $51 that nobody wanted to touch. These weren't minor adjustments. This was a full-blown market panic, showing just how much of the event's value was tied to one player. The speed and scale of the crash eclipsed anything we've seen in NBA All-Star Game history. Even when superstars like LeBron or Curry miss the game, price drops tend to hover around 18 to 21%. Clark's absence triggered a 48% collapse, highlighting her economic impact as far beyond any comparable athlete in pro basketball.
You think an NBA All-Star game ticket is going to drop 50% because LeBron's not playing? No! Do you think an NBA All-Star ticket price is going to drop 50% because Joker's not playing? No! Absolutely not.
LeBron James can be injured, Steph Curry could be injured, Kevin Durant could be in, and the prices still will not drop to be this.
You go back in history, nobody has carried that league like her. This only her second year. And she been having this aura since high school.
But here's where it gets really ugly. This wasn't just secondary market speculation. It was an exposure of how dependent the WNBA has become on one player. Economists estimate Clark accounts for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity. That's a level of star dependency that doesn't exist anywhere else in professional sports. For comparison, even Michael Jordan, during the NBA's golden era, never represented more than 15% of league-wide economic impact. So when one player in a 12-team league is responsible for more than a quarter of its value, that's not a healthy ecosystem. That's a single point of failure masquerading as a professional sports league.
Okay, pay attention. Pay attention. We saw the viewership drop. Ticket sales dropping. Attendance dropping.
Kathy don't give a damn about no referees. Kathy don't give a damn about no Caitlin Clark. This says it all.
Had really big women's basketball stars before, and Caitlin just sort of happens to be perfectly timed to take advantage of all of these changing elements of this marketplace, right? You think about in 2021 is when NIL is allowed for college athletes. So that's when the brands get to come into play, right? And that's when ESPN starts airing every single NCAA tournament game, so you can actually watch them play. And we know when you put things on television, people are going.
The Indianapolis business community had been prepping for their biggest sports weekend in years. Restaurants like the District Tap anticipated massive crowds. Hotels hit 95% occupancy weeks in advance. Owners hired extra staff, ordered more inventory, extended hours, while retailers stocked up on Clark-branded merch expecting it to fly off shelves. Instead, they watched projections collapse in real time. Fans canceled hotel reservations. Refunds flooded in. A weekend that was supposed to be historic became ordinary. The premium experience fans were ready to pay for just days earlier? Gone.
I know why tickets prices dropped. Because people quit buying the damn tickets. People was asking for refunds for the damn tickets. So you want to know what they had to do? Damn near give them away, bro.
People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends.
The psychological impact on the league can't be overstated either. This disaster confirmed the uncomfortable reality. The WNBA's growth story is built like a house of cards, propped up by one player's popularity. Clark's economic impact has been estimated between $875 million and $1 billion annually. That makes this All-Star Game collapse feel less like a freak incident and more like a warning shot. With the CBA negotiations looming, the Players' Union now has concrete proof that their leverage is tied directly to one person. Clark creates more value than entire franchises. And that reshapes every future conversation around salaries, revenue sharing, and league governance.
This is the future of this league. And you wonder why y'all can't get a CBA agreement done. The damn commissioner drunk out there on a dance floor.
Well, what do you think is the driving force in your new media rights deal? It's us, the fandom. That's why that deal got so lucrative, is the people that support Caitlin Clark. We're fed up with being called racist and all this other thing.
I believe Kathy has a systematic placement for Caitlin Clark to get hurt. She said it last year. They need the drama for clicks. Guys, what sells more than anything? Drama. But they're not looking at the longevity of this. Caitlin Clark getting hurt. Caitlin Clark lose her fan base and lose all the hype. Guess what? The league.
The scariest part is that this financial disaster happened because of an injury that should have been completely preventable, and it's directly connected to the organizational chaos that's been derailing Caitlin Clark's sophomore season. This is her second year in the league, not some rookie learning curve, and she's already missed 10 regular season games due to multiple muscle injuries that never occurred during her entire college career at Iowa. We're talking about someone who was basically indestructible for 4 years in college, now breaking down every few weeks because the Indiana Fever can't figure out how to protect their most valuable asset. The latest injury happened on July 15th against Connecticut, and Clark's emotional reaction told you everything you needed to know about her mental state. She banged her head against the basket support and covered her face with a towel, like someone who had reached their breaking point. 2 days later, she made the devastating announcement that she couldn't participate in either All-Star event. Think about how insane that is. The face of women's basketball voluntarily missing the biggest stage in her home state because her body is falling apart from organizational incompetence and medical failures that should never happen at the professional level. Clark's official July 17th statement was heartbreaking in its simplicity. I am incredibly sad and disappointed to say I can't participate in the three-point contest or the All-Star game. I have to rest my body. I will still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all the action, and I'm looking forward to helping Liberty coach Sandy Brondello coach our team to a win. That's not the language of someone dealing with routine wear and tear. That's the voice of an athlete whose organization has completely failed to manage her health and career trajectory. Failures that would be considered malpractice in any other major professional sport. The ripple effects were immediate and brutal. The WNBA scrambled to find replacements. Washington Mystics guard Brittany Sykes for the All-Star Game and Indiana's own Lexi Hull for the three-point contest, but everyone knew it was too little, too late. The damage was done. The secondary market bloodbath had already begun as fans realized they'd invested in an event that had just lost its primary draw. What made this economic disaster even more revealing was the massive gap it exposed between perception and reality in women's professional sports marketing. Fans and media members kept saying the All-Star Game would still be amazing, with stars like Aya Wilson, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu. But the market spoke louder than any promo campaign ever could. When real money's on the line, people vote with their wallets. And those wallets said, "No Caitlin Clark? No deal." The speed of the collapse was unprecedented in modern sports economics. We're talking about a 48-hour window where millions of dollars in value evaporated because one player couldn't participate. Social media erupted. Reactions ranged from disappointment to outright anger, with fans posting screenshots of ticket purchases and hotel reservations as they scrambled to recoup their investments. Twitter threads tracked price crashes in real time. The hashtag Caitlin Clark effect began trending as fans shared how her absence upended their weekend, from canceled flights and unused vacation days to downtown hotel rooms that suddenly weren't worth the price. The media coverage of the collapse became nearly as significant as the event itself. ESPN, CNN, and Fox News all ran stories on the unprecedented nature of the market reaction. Business outlets began dissecting what the collapse meant for the economics of women's sports. Sports economists compared Clark's individual impact to other historically dominant athletes, and the consensus was clear. No player in women's professional sports has ever had this level of individual economic influence. And the implications for league stability are staggering. Because this isn't just about an all-star game. This is about what happens when you build an entire league's financial foundation on a single superstar, who's being mismanaged by an organization clearly unequipped to handle that level of responsibility. The Indiana Fever's handling of Clark's injury situation has been a masterclass in organizational incompetence. From their failure to implement basic load management protocols to their inability to build a capable medical team, they've exposed glaring quality gaps in WNBA infrastructure. Clark has suffered 4 separate muscle injuries in 2025, after never missing a game in college or during her rookie season. That tells you everything you need to know about the difference in professional standards between NCAA programs and the WNBA. The league's attempts to promote other stars and diversify its storylines have been largely ineffective at generating comparable fan engagement and financial return. Which means they're trapped in a model where Clark's health and happiness dictate the success or failure of the entire organization. Players like Aya Wilson and Brianna Stewart are undeniably elite, but their individual drawing power doesn't come close to what Clark delivers to every game, every event, and every marketing campaign. The All-Star Game disaster proved that the WNBA's deep talent pool, while real and impressive, hasn't translated into diversified economic value that could insulate the league from a single-player-dependent collapse. What was supposed to be a celebration of how far women's basketball has come instead turned into a case study in the dangers of building a business around one irreplaceable asset. And here's the irony. Clark's dominance of the economic landscape actually undermines the league's long-term stability. Because when everything seems secondary to her presence, other players, other storylines, other initiatives, you've built a system that's brittle by design.